Sedibelo, Bakgatla. I greet you all, Bakatla, the citizens of South Africa, and citizens of this world. I greet you on this moment of a public holiday that is upon us called Freedom Day. It's a very special day for Bakata. It's a very special day for the citizens of South Africa, the law-abiding citizens of South Africa. This is a very special day on the 27th of April. It's a public holiday extending on to Monday. And we have seen it opportune to make this speech today so that it lives with you throughout the holiday and on the day of the commemoration itself. Why is this day special? It's special because we commemorate a long struggle to freedom. We commemorate a long struggle to freedom. Freedom against injustice, freedom against oppression, called apartheid, pre-1994. It's called apartheid. It was a very dark time in the history of South Africa. Our forefathers and our fathers participated in that struggle. My great-grandfather, Kgosi Kgafela II, was part of the formation of the then African National Congress, ANC. He was part of the Kgosi, who formed that organization. My father, Kgosi Kgafela II, from 1973 up until Freedom Day, he was a key participant in the attainment of these freedoms. The story has been told many times. It's a matter of public knowledge and historical record that Kgosi Kgafela II, my father, in Muchudi and his tribe, Bakata, hosted with admirable hospitality freedom fighters from Umkhonto, freedom fighters from the PAC, and also freedom fighters from Rhodesia. He hosted them at our residence in Muchudi. Comrade Thabo Mbeki speaks about it. Other people speak about it. How Kgosi Kgafela's participation was so key to the attainment of the current freedoms. Yes, I was a child at that time, and I remember very well why and how we spent all our lives at boarding school. From standard 1, we were at boarding school right until we completed O-level. Our parents kept us at boarding school because of the potential danger that they had exposed the entire family to in the role which they played. My father, Kgosi Kgafela, he kept arms and ammunition of Umkhonto in his house, and he was central in its distribution into South Africa. The refugees, the ANC refugees, they were not thrown at the refugee camp called Dukwi, but my father had a special plan for them of integration into the village, into the society. My father planted them in schools to be teachers, in brigades, in nursing homes, and he even formed a football club called Mushi Rovers, where many of the refugees played football. I remember when I was a child that every Christmas, my father slaughtered a beast, a cow. And we all spent that Christmas at his farm with the refugees, eating, making merry, and being happy in the circumstances. Some of the South Africans, my father set them up in business, including my mother's relatives, the Motsepe family. Batswana would remember Uncle Ka Motsepe, who became one of the wealthiest men in Gaborone with a butchery. They'll remember Ramathaku, who had a butchery in Muchudi and Gaborone. There's Remuilwe, who was a lecturer at the University of Botswana, and many more, who my father set up in business as his way of assisting the struggle. This was his role. And we remember those true heroes of freedom. We remember the late Nelson Mandela. What a great man he was. He knew my father very well and he respected my father. And our meeting point is actually historical. If you read the Mafikeng High Court judgment of Handler J in a dispute between the then regent of Bakata in South Africa, Kgosi Kgafela II, and my father, Nelson Mandela appears in that court judgment. He tried to mediate, and he told Tidimane to respect my father. But unfortunately, things went the way they proceeded to court until we are where we are right now. But Mandela respected my father very, very well. And if a man like Nelson Mandela would respect Kgosi II for his role, and if a man like Honorable Comrade Thabo Mbeki, if he can speak about Kgosi II the way he does, then there can be no doubt in you that I speak the truth about my father's role. There are many other Amakosi, there are many other freedom fighters. Some have died, some are still alive. Military veterans, true soldiers. And some I know and I've met and I've befriended since I came to South Africa in 2012. They have interesting stories to tell about the road to freedom. And the road to freedom that used Botswana, particularly Muchudi, as a gateway. They are still alive, they are still around. And to you, those brave soldiers, military veterans, I salute you. I salute you. We have a tragedy in South Africa. We have a very serious tragedy in South Africa. That tragedy is that those freedoms that we speak about, that odious, difficult road to freedom that we speak about, has been negated, has been nullified by the African National Congress of today. That's the tragedy. The African National Congress, ACA, aka African National Corruption, has destroyed our freedoms. In my last 3 or 4 videos that I've made, I've given you a detailed narrative of how our freedoms, Bakata Kgafela, and our freedoms as the royal family of Bakata Kgafela that took care of the comrades in the most difficult time. I've given you a narrative of how those freedoms have been eroded in totality to the grain of the rock. All the freedoms that are guaranteed in the South African Constitution, all the rights that are provided for and safety guaranteed in the South African Constitution. All those rights that we have as Bakata Kgafela have been wiped away systematically by the African National Corruption, ANC. The example of those erosions, the example which applies to our tribe, Bakata Kgafela, prevails all over South Africa. Our case is a case on point, representative of what the rest of South Africans are suffering from, especially the poor. Our constitutional rights don't exist anymore, despite the fact that we have a constitution. And our founding fathers of this supposedly free nation made promises via that written document called a constitution. But the ANC, ACA, African National Corruption, has made life in South Africa a misery for all of us. Before I proceed, let me just give you an example of why I say ACA, African National Corruption. When you have a container written water, and there's water in it, a water bottle that you bought from a water shop and is written water in it, and you drink that water, and you finish that water, and then somebody else pours into that container a clear liquid that is similar to water into that container. You can't call that container and what it is in it water anymore. Anyone who does so is deluded to the core of his soul. He suffers the worst delusions of grandeur in life. Because it is what it is. It is no longer the African National Congress of Nelson Mandela, Kgosi Kgafela II, Thabo Mbeki, Oliver Tambo, and all the others. It is no more that. It is something else bearing the label ANC, but inside it is the African National Corruption, destroying our freedoms to the worst state of misery. So as I've said, the narrative that we have given you about Bakgatla applies across the whole of South Africa, especially to the poor. Therefore, I won't rehash that story, because you only need to look at our past videos to see what we are talking about. We gave you the solutions, what I call Bakata Solutions, to how we are going to free ourselves from this monstrosity, which is a common enemy to all of us. Black, white, brown, dark black, dark brown, all the races of this country, we have a common enemy, one enemy, ANC, ACA, African National Corruption. And we need to vanquish that monster from our lives, once and for all. And today, being Freedom Day, is opportune for us to sound the call of unity, that we should unite. All South Africans must unite to achieve this end. Let me remind you of the Bakata solution, because I have to give you an update of where we stand with that solution on a monthly basis. I said to you that we, Bakgatla, we have evidence. We have evidence, very strong evidence, forensic evidence about the robbery of our tribe by Murule Mafia, aided and abetted, supported by the ANC, ACA, African National Corruption, with a front The front criminals, Litulia House Mafia. They've been robbing us for many, many years, using Murile Mafia as their puppets. And we are speaking about millions and millions and millions and billions and billions and billions of rand that is being stolen from Bakatla. When I landed in South Africa in 2012, we were speaking about millions. And the further robbery could have been stopped. It could have been stopped because by then, in 2012, we had clear evidence of the robbery. And all state organs were provided with that clear evidence of the robbery, being the BDO Spencer forensic report of 2012. That notwithstanding, the ANC allowed Murile Mafia to continue robbing and raping Bakatla for 13 years to date. So we have evidence sufficient enough to start a prosecution tomorrow of Murile Mafia. And when you bring down Murile Mafia, you bring down the African national corruption. Because they've had a symbiotic relationship for the past 15 years. We have the evidence of money that has gone to the ANC and ANC members, and we are on course to preparing a final forensic report that shines the light even brighter on that evidence, which evidence will be seen by the whole world. Therefore, we are ready to start that prosecution either via the state organs, law enforcement organs, or via a private prosecution for those commercial crimes. Fortunately, Bagaetsho, we have found help to execute that private prosecution in the event that the state organs continue to obstruct the course of law. To obstruct the course of law, if they continue to obstruct the course of law, we will do that private prosecution. We have evidence also of murder. We told you that at the core of the siege that we suffer as Bakatla is murder. Our people are being murdered. It's not just Jomo Kiruming, who was murdered on the 15th of August, 2023. There was murder before Jomo and murder after Jomo. It's going on. And the murderers are known. With regard to Jomo Kiruming, we have eyewitnesses. Eyewitnesses who saw the gunman. Eyewitnesses who saw the driver. And we have a complete investigation by our private investigators, which points the finger to Murile Mafia. If you arrest and prosecute Murile Mafia for murder and for commercial crimes, you, my fellow brothers and sisters of South Africa, fellow citizens of South Africa who are law-abiding, you have a solution that's going to solve your misery in that when you bring Murile Mafia down, the ANC goes down with it. So that's a ready solution. And we are on top of it as Bakatla. With or without you. Although we would prefer you, the citizens of South Africa, to fall in unison of our cause. But with or without you, this is what we are going to do. Because we have to do it. It is our duty. We owe it to destiny. So that's our solution. And we are on top of it. It is work in progress. We also mentioned that we are bringing a direct access case to the Constitutional Court, whose aim is to bring an end to the morass and the confusion which the Northwest government the Northwest government, Klerksdorp Mafia, has caused within our tribe for the past 15 years. They refuse to respect Bakata Solutions royal family. They decide to change the dynasty to plant their own Bakata Solutions royal family, despite them knowing the character of Bakata Solutions family, which is a matter of historical and legal record in a line of cases that form solid jurisprudence on this topic of Bakata Solutions royal family. Notwithstanding that, the Northwest government decides that they will break the law. They will break Bakata Solutions customary law, traditional law. They will break the law written in case law. They will break statute law. They will break the constitution. And they will even promote the disregard of court judgments. That's a very serious matter to any law-abiding citizen, especially he or she who has a legal background. Once a government breaks the law, and once a government disregards court judgments, aids and promotes the violation of court judgments, then you know that it's the end of the republic. So we intend to take the last measure, what I call a last measure, of putting together everything and bringing it before the Constitutional Court, for the Constitutional Court to be our last remedy within South Africa. Our lawyers advise that they are in the process of compiling the entire record of this morass, and it takes about 3 months in terms of the rules of the courts to put it together and bring it before the Constitutional Court. So we have filed our notice and our notice of appeal. We have noted our appeal from the last judgment, and we're putting everything together. Hopefully, we'll be ready to now put the case before the Constitutional Court in August. So it's work in progress, and you have to be patient, Bakgatla. We've been patient for 13 years. There's no reason why we should not be patient for the next 6 months. So this is at a local level. What we are going to do, because we have to do it, to avoid something much more drastic, which I will share with you at the end of this presentation. At an international level, I did mention to you that there are steps that we intend to take. We intend to seek sanctions, targeted sanctions. We intend to bring a case before the international courts for whatever relief that it is, whose end result will be to relieve Bakgatla and to relieve the people of South Africa of this monstrosity. Fortunately, Bakgatla, we have found help. Yes, we have found help internationally. We found help in America. Yes, we found help in America. There are organizations who have come to our assistance, who have heard the clarion call of Bakgatla. And fortunately, when they heard our call, they were on course to filing these petitions on behalf of the peoples of South Africa. So when we came on board with our cry, they contacted us and asked me to be the lead face of that journey to the international courts, to the international tribunals, and to whatever body exists internationally that can give us the relief that we seek. They've asked that I, Kgosi Kgafela II, should be the face of that journey, and I've agreed. They've issued out a petition through one of the sub-organizations in the much bigger organization. It's called the Liberty Society. The petition is circulating as we speak. Many Bakata are signing it. And I urge all of you South Africans to sign that petition. That petition and the actions that we are taking at the international level is just one of the other things that we see as our duty to do in order to avoid the ultimate that will happen to South Africa if we don't do that. So I urge all of you South Africans to join in that petition and to join in that road. Black, white, red, dark black, brown, dark brown, and even green, if there's any green race or purple race. You must join in this petition. And you must join in this call that demands one end to our misery. And that end is the vanquishing of the ANC from our lives altogether. So at an international level, fellow citizens, law-abiding citizens of South Africa, that's what we are doing. And we're doing it because that's what we have to do. And the ball is rolling, and it's rolling very fast. It has no time. This journey has no time for racial divisions. They are irrelevant. And we, Bakata, don't care what you think about white people, black people, red people. It's a distraction that we will not entertain, because we suffer every day erosion of our rights, and our suffering makes it totally irrelevant to be entertaining topics that are a distraction, topics that don't take us anywhere. We will join hands in coalition or whatever with anyone who has the same goal at the end. Even a snake, we can partner with a snake for that end result. So that's what we are doing at an international level, and I urge you to join that road. Now, fellow citizens, let me share something with you which I've been sharing with Bakgatla for the past several years since I came to South Africa. In all my travel meetings, I conclude them by a warning. I tell my tribe and I tell fellow citizens of South Africa that this trajectory of life that we have taken of fake democracy, a fake democracy that keeps us all strapped in a chariot of doom, we are going to regret it very soon, all of us. Even in my books, I warn that South Africans are playing with fire. In a grass house, in a thatched house, you are playing with fire. Paul Kagame has warned again and again and again that South Africans, you are playing with fire. And he speaks from experience. And I speak from spiritual knowledge of a king who has 18 years experience of leadership, of a retired lawyer with 10 years experience of litigation. In the hardest cases a lawyer can face, cases of saving lives at the gallows in Botswana. So I know what I'm talking about. And I've warned that this game that you are playing with politics, the poor of this country are going to rebel. And they're going to cause you a nightmare never seen before in this country. The poor of this country are in my heart. I am in that position. I'm as poor as they are, albeit the richest king in Southern Africa. Yes, I'm the richest king in Southern Africa, but the ANC has rendered me poor. I've been a beggar since 2012, surviving on handouts from Good Samaritans, because the ANC has blocked access to my wealth via the puppet Murile Mafia. The poor of this country are in the same position. They are the richest poor. They are the richest poor. And the elite don't know what's going on in this country. They don't know what the poor are discussing in their shacks, in their space of poverty. But I know, because I can feel their heart. I can feel their heartbeat, because I'm one of them. I'm in that situation, although in a different character. But I am in that situation. I know how it is to move from month to month without an income. I know how it is to have your children thrown out of school because you haven't paid school fees. I know how it is to beg. A king begging, like the beggar at the four-way street. I know how it is. Therefore, I know how they feel. In the last elections last year, the poor of this country sent a very strong message. There are over 20 million mature adults in this country eligible to vote. Over 20 million. But only about 6 million people voted. And out of that 6 million who voted, 40% voted ANC, while 60% said we don't want ANC. Yes. So you have about 15 million who didn't vote at all. And then you have amongst the voters, the majority of them saying we don't want ANC. We, the poor of this country, do not want ANC. We want a different trajectory of life. If for a moment you believe that this constituency of the poor, this constituency of law-abiding citizens of South Africa, patient law-abiding citizens of South Africa, they don't think, they don't feel, and they don't see what you are doing, you are very deluded, my brother, my sister. You suffer the worst delusions of grandeur. They think, the poor, they feel, and their hearts are bleeding with the pain of injustice arising from your fake democracy. Right now we have a show, a very interesting show going on at Parliament, where despite the poor having made a clear message, we have the ANC back in leadership, perpetuating the same misery upon us Bakgatla, perpetuating the same misery upon the poor. The poor are tired of this rigmarole. The poor are tired of this rigmarole of endless litigation that yields no relief for their misery. The poor are tired of this rigmarole of endless administrative procedures that yield no relief to their misery. The poor are tired of this rigmarole of executive corruption that flows from union building to all the provinces of this country, foremost being the Northwest, because that is where we come from, and that is where we've been exiled from. The poor are tired, fellow citizens. The poor are tired. And because I am that king, I'm in that situation, I feel what they feel. I can assure you with certainty of the sun rising that they are going to revolt. We have only 3 months to give them hope. And that is why we do what we do, because we have to do it to avoid the worst case scenario that looms and hovers in the cloud of fate. Yes, they're going to revolt. And the first target is going to be you, members of parliament, because you have the first opportunity to vanquish this monstrosity out of our lives. You can do it tomorrow. You can unite amongst yourselves and relieve South Africans of this suffering. You can do it tomorrow. And to the extent that you will fail, I can assure you that when this purge kicks off the ground, you are going to be the first targets. They're going to burn you South African style. They're going to burn your houses as Murule Mafia and Tweeder House Mafia has burnt my house. All the things that have been done to Bakatla and to the Bakata King for the past 15 years, all the arrows of death and destructions that you have directed as us Bakatla, by the laws of karma, they return to you. By the laws of karma, those arrows return to you. Not by my doing, not by Bakatla's doing, but by the laws of karma, those arrows will return to you. In a purge, most frightening, that you don't even want to imagine it. Yes, the poor are human beings who have feelings. And you've ignored that feelings far too long in this rigmarole that's been going on in South Africa. Yes, you members of parliament, you'll be the first victims of this purge. And of course, everything will fall out of control. It will be every man for himself. And then we start afresh, as the people of Rwanda did in 1994. Do you think that you are immune from what happened in Rwanda? Paul Kagame warns you every time that you are not immune. But we continue playing this game that leads us to this horrible moment. And the ANC is drawing us all to that moment, strapping us all in this chariot of doom. Let me tell you something else, fellow citizens. This earth that we live in is a living earth. It's not dead matter. It's a living earth. This sun that you see shining on my face is alive. They are just as alive as you and I, as the elephant, as the snake. They are alive. Albeit gigantic bodies, but they are alive. Nothing alive grows from the earth if the earth was dead. The earth is alive. It breathes. It smells. She sees. And she feels. Even her heartbeat, you can feel it. She's alive. This earth I call God. Every man and woman has their own God. My God is a living earth and the universe that holds her in her bosom. She's a very kind God, very loving God, very giving. For free, she gives us the oceans and the food in the oceans. For free, she gives us the ground to grow our food. For free, she gives us the berries and fruits that are there in the forest and the animals. For free, she gives us this oxygen. And for free, the sun gives us everything that sustains Mother Earth. She's a very kind God. So kind, as always, to send a warning to mankind before a major destruction of humanity. Yes, she's a kind God. The scriptures, the Holy Bible, the Holy Quran, the Torah, any scripture that you come across is replete with stories of how one prophet after another was sent to humanity, society by society, to warn them, to change their ways. Yes, we know about the story of Jonah, the story of Abraham, Lot, Shuaib, and many others. The Quran has a whole chapter on the prophets. They came, they warned, the people did not listen. Today you have not just a prophet, but a king, robed in the robes of royalty, the robes of a king, a leopard, unmistakable before your eyes that here we have a king speaking to us. And I warn you, as I've warned for the past 6 years, that it's very important that you heed this message, the message of unity, the message of taking action now to vanquish this monstrosity, to show Mother Earth that we are serious about uniting to vanquish evil from us, to show Mother Earth that we are serious about changing our ways and adjusting to the new ways of the new age called Aquarius, the age of truth and justice, departing from the age of Pisces that was driven by lies, hypocrisy, pain, misery, all under this fake democracy that rules over the whole of Africa. So I'm here saying to you, fellow citizens of South Africa, citizens of the world, that we must take this action that I'm advising you to take. The members of parliament must tomorrow vanquish this monstrosity from our lives, failing which you, Mr. Prosecutor or Mrs. Prosecutor, you, Mr. Policeman, who is in charge of Bakgatla, commercial crimes investigation, you better get serious. You who is in charge of the murder investigation of Jomo, you better get serious to provide us and the people of South Africa a ready solution. We will get serious with everything that is within our power to do. But after 3 months, this matter will be beyond my control. After 3 months, this matter will be beyond my control. Let me tell you this, my track record of a peace-loving king is historical. Every Bakgatla will tell you that Kgosi Kgafela is a peace-loving man. He advises against violence at any given moment, and he has prevented violence in Bakatla villages. He has followed the law for 13 years. He has held revolution of the poor back and back and back with hope and hope and hope. This is the last hope, my fellow brothers and sisters. It's the last hope that we have to give the poor, failing which it will be beyond my control. And you hypocrite, who puts your head in the sand, in the ground, like an ostrich, putting your head in the ground, howling apartheid, 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 when you're supposed to deal with matters of today. I can tell you for sure that the horde, once it starts running, they're going to kick your ostrich ass whilst you howl ignorance into that hole. Yeah, they're going to kick your ostrich ass. They're going to run over you. You're going to be hit by something that you've never anticipated because of your delusions, your ignorance, and your divisive behavior when we are supposed to be uniting on one cause. So, pass up. We do what we do because we have to do it. You, the citizens of South Africa, you do what you do because you have to do it. And fate and destiny will judge us who defend the freedoms that were hard-earned by our forefathers and our fathers. We will defend that freedom. Even if we are to stand alone, we will defend it to the very last drop of our blood, to the very last breath in our body. Because we believe in freedom. We believe in law. We believe in peace. We believe that all of us in this earth have a right to be happy. And we believe that anyone who takes that happiness away from us must be vanquished from our midst. Yesterday, must be vanquished yesterday. We don't care for this rigmarole anymore. We care for just one end, an end that brings us peace, justice, and restoration of the promises of freedom, restoration of our constitution, restoration of the rule of law. That's all that we care for. We will either achieve it in accordance with the advice that we give today in this presentation, or we'll achieve it by the purge that I warn you against. Make no mistake to think that the poor are not thinking. Yes, it's the worst mistake that you, the elite, will make and have been making, to think that this 15 million people who have not voted and the other millions who have declared that they don't want ANC, for you to think that they don't think, that they are stupid in their poverty, is the worst mistake that you can ever make. My brother Paul Kagame, if he ever listens to this video, I ask you to prevail upon the people of South Africa to heed this call. Fellow citizens, you have heard me. I wish you a happy holiday in the circumstances of misery. Sedibelo.